Hi, I'm Joe Furey. I'm one of the writers and producer on the show, and I'm here with
Robert Spina, script supervisor.
Spider Chambers post.
Al Higgins, writer.
Sam Johnson, writer.
and we're looking at this is the Christmas episode. I think we actually did 2 Christmas episodes, but this was the first one, and these generally came out of, I think the network would ask if you could do something holiday related, so that's kind of where these came from. There was one at Halloween, I think, and another they'd occasionally ask us to.
This is where Dave and Lisa try to get home, right? Try to get back to Wisconsin.
and they go to his
No,
house,
I don't. No, I don't think it is. I think this is the one with the cars, right? Isn't it with?
No, that was the season before.
That was season 2, I think.
Oh, it was.
Yeah.
Oh, then I'm completely
This
confused.
is. I think in this one, Joe takes down all the Christmas decorations.
Okay,
We'll find out.
we're gonna find out in a minute. But
There is one more thing. I'd like to officially invite you over to my desk
Wait,
for
then-
a little Christmas surprise.
what do we remember about this? Anyone?
Absolutely nothing.
Tone Loc is
Okay.
in it.
I do remember
This is Andy with his tongue on the
Yeah.
train track.
Yeah.
This is a good joke.
I remember this is funny, and it's actually in the outtake reel
He
too.
goes on and on.
Yeah,
forever,
it's actually even funnier in the outtake reel than it is in the show. But
which will probably be on the DVD.
yeah, which a lot of jokes ended up sometimes were funnier in the outtake reels, and
Try it again.
because they could curse and say whatever they wanted.
Are these tracks steel or copper?
I don't know. How could I tell?
Well, if they're copper, they'll taste like a penny.
Well, so this was.
No, more like a nickel.
So what do we know about this one, Al? What do we remember about it?
I love Christmas.
Well,
That's all I
okay,
know.
let's talk about Christmas.
Oh, okay. When I was growing up, there were
Yeah.
some great memories.
Yeah. Okay.
But I just couldn't. Merry Christmas, dude.
Okay, I guess we have nothing to say about this one, so thanks for tuning in.
This episode does have some stunt casting, as we'll see in a few minutes. But
Yes, it does have stunt casting.
it does indeed.
Stunt casting that were,
Tone Loc.
yes, Tom Loc and
Toby
Toby
Huss.
Huss, right?
Yep.
Okay.
They
That's
brilliant
hardly
performances.
stunt casting.
Yeah.
No, not
It's
really.
stunt enough.
It
They
is. That's right.
they did such a good job, though. They were invited back. I think this was the first episode they appeared in, right?
No, I thought they were
no.
all season 2.
Yeah, I kind of thought they were before.
Yeah.
Oh,
we
okay, so
were
this is
there.
their return.
This is the
return, yeah.
return of the characters, the beloved characters, the 2 security guard guys that were actually based on security guards at Sunset Gower Studios, very loosely based on them, but the idea of them was these 2 guys who, whenever people would come into work on the show at Sunset Gower Studios, the security guards would always talk to people and ask them for things and ask them for food and hey, can you guys get us some sodas or can you get us
Some Toady Pops or
yeah,
some
yeah, give us
Jump
some.
Jump Chips.
So we thought that was an endless source of delight and ended up making a couple of characters based on them.
And we ended up letting like the guards and stuff like that help ourselves to our free snacks and our
Yes.
free sodas, and then that's how we met Rich Harris, the PA.
He was
who-
a security
he was
guard.
a security guard, very cool security guard, and then
Oh, that's right.
Hey,
He's
Yes.
hired on.
That's right.
hired him as a PA.
But the Grumpy Grump security guard is still an obsession years after his death.
Yeah.
That's right. We still talk about his name was Lorenzo, the actual guy. I think we even named the character Lorenzo in the show.
That's right.
And Lorenzo, and we loved Lorenzo. He was a funny.
Did he actually ever say Gromp? Gromp on
No,
something?
he used to say stuff like. He'd say, "You guys got any something to chomp on, or something to gromp on,
Something to
a
gromp on,
couple
yeah.
of chippy chips." Or somehow it got Tone Loc changed it, but what it was originally, he would actually just say, "Guys got a little some chippy chips or some chips, something."
Gromp on.
Yeah, and Tone Loc came from. I take credit for Tone Loc because we were having a meeting trying to figure out who we could get as the security guard, and it was purely based on the fact that I had just seen Ace Ventura, Pet Detective, and he was in it, and I thought he was really funny. I said, "Why don't we get Tone Loc to do it?" And everybody was like, "What?" And then I said he was in that movie, and then he ended up being really funny on the show.
That's great.
So I'm happy to take credit for that.
For his career.
That's right.
Where is he
his
now?
acting career? I don't know, but he was funny in
He was
the
really
show.
funny,
So I think he did some other stuff too, didn't he? Like a couple of other things
know.
later. All right, so what's the premise of this? This is the one where they're going home. We figured that out. Everyone's trying to go home early, and do we know?
Dave's trying to get Lisa home to Wisconsin for Christmas.
Okay.
Jimmy's trying to figure out his Christmas list for all of the millionaires that he knows.
His millionaire
and
list.
Matthew is the only one who can choose just the right gift.
He's a savant.
That's right.
A gift savant.
Right, that's right.
The ratings for the show are always really high in Wisconsin and Milwaukee because his character supposedly came from Wisconsin, so people were more inclined to watch it because this made-up person came from that state.
That's right.
Another nice dress on Vicky. I know.
Yeah.
You can see
Cutlets
that.
in, I believe.
Yeah.
Oh, are those cutlet?
That would be the reference to the...
Yes.
I don't know. We'd have to ask Vicky about that. The fake breasts that the actresses occasionally had to wear on the show because the network felt they weren't large enough.
Voluminous.
Something to that effect. Or
Classic.
Oh,
classic.
This is the one that takes them into a voiceover recording studio, much like this
Oh,
one.
that's right. Now it's coming back.
Oh, right.
Voiceover.
That's right. Which it ends with that too, right? It ends with Phil doing the voiceovers at the end. Right. Yeah, so everybody wanted to go home, and then that's what the premise was, and then Dave ends up being alone, right? He ends up doing
I
everyone's
thought they went to
work.
Wisconsin, didn't they?
Well, they do, I think, eventually, but he ends up
They want to
doing-
leave early.
Yeah, they all want to leave early.
They all want to leave early, and he wants to leave early, but he keeps saying, "Okay, you guys can leave early." Is that right?
I love it. The people.
He keeps doing everyone's
The
job.
people that
for
are
them.
actually listening to this commentary know every episode
I
probably
know.
and every plot of it. And so.
I know.
And we don't know.
And we don't. Yeah.
Yes. Do you people? Can you tell us what happens at the end of this?
Yell it at your screen.
But
Yeah.
this is a
Oh,
classic.
okay. Yell it out.
Yeah.
This is
You're
a
wrong.
classic news radio form of one problem and everybody
Yes.
has a take on it or somehow
right.
reacts.
I just remember the mistakes on this show were really funny ones.
Such as?
The mistletoe, all the stuff in the doorway that they'll do with mistletoe later on.
Oh, that's right.
It was very funny, and
From
there
Andy
was
doing-
more of it than we could have ever used. And then Andy at the train track went on for about 10 minutes.
Right. And we
I
did
must
it
say,
about-
Andy Dick, for all his foibles, is sort of I don't want to say idiot savant comedian, but he's an amazing.
He's an idiot.
He's an idiot, yes, but he's just like a pure physical comedian, and he's just very, very funny when he's in character and in the moment. He's amazing.
With Andy being such a physical comedian, it makes me think that this cast came from so many different places. It was made up of people who did movies and people who did Broadway and sketch comics, movie actors. I mean, and you could get so many different kinds of comedy, and you guys were able to write to so many different points of view because of where these actors all came from.
Well, a huge amount of it too was it was easy to write for them because they were fast they were quick with sort of getting stuff, and
Very
because
fast.
they all had experience in these areas of doing live comedy and that kind of stuff. So you could throw lines at them and say, "Dave, try this instead," and he'd go, "Okay," and then just like immediately be able to do it.
Well,
without too much prep.
On the floor in the heat of the filming, the amount of stuff that you could throw at them. I mean, you say lines, but sometimes it was pages.
Yeah, they were
And
real.
Oh
times.
yeah, oh no, absolutely.
Yeah,
Well, because we'd have to rewrite stuff. We would literally rewrite stuff, write an entire scene. We'd have to sort of restructure it because it wasn't working correctly, or we'd think of some other thing that would help make the scene work better. And it was amazing. You'd kind of put it together, and Robert, you would sit there and go, "Okay, this is what you're saying,
with the
Dave.
needle
This is
and
what you're
thread."
saying." Yeah, with the needle and thread, you'd be like, "This is what you're saying, Vicky. This is whatever," and everyone would kind of get together, and it would work. It was just very odd, and that how everyone could kind of do that so well.
Well, and you guys encouraged them. I mean, there weren't just 8 or 10 writer voices. You add the 6 or 7 cast voices into that, and everybody
Yeah.
was capable of pitching something in some form that you guys or they could turn into something extra.
Well, that's the thing that someone was talking earlier about, like the chemistry of everyone being friends, like the actors and the writers were all friends. That was what was interesting about it, was we were all interested in making this as funny as we could make it. Everyone, the actors, the crew, everybody was all sort of for this. So, I've worked on other shows where it's kind of like the writers just write and then they never even see the actors, and and
Which shows, Joe?
I don't want to talk about them.
Oh, I'm sorry, but you were saying.
But on this show, it was everyone seemed to be like really like they loved what they were doing, which is what made it fun, I think. So I don't know. Am I wrong? Anybody?
No, you're right. And it was
right
weird.
on.
It's so
right
funny.
on, my friend.
No, I mean, you're still going to the same parties. I mean, it's a great.
and still doing the same jokes.
That's because it's a dream come true.
What do you mean, a dream come true?
Dream come true garage door opener, silly.
What a great Christmas gift. This really is a dream come true. Actual garage unit does not include installation or maintenance. No longer affiliated with Dream Come True Carpet Steamer Incorporated. Prices may vary.
Cut.
Now you've made him mad. You can't.
Maura Tierney married my wife and I.
Oh, yeah.
She was the officiant.
Yeah,
I don't know if
Sam,
that's-
Sam and Julie met on the
I
show.
was actually going to say, you're married to Maura Tierney?
And Maura was the officiator, the priestess, the high
She was the
priestess.
priestess.
That's right.
And gave a very, very
It
hilarious.
was very funny.
Yes.
Very funny.
Very funny.
She wrote a little skit that Julie and I had to act out.
Yeah, it was great.
And the thing that's funny about Maura, too, even on the show, Maura was always... I mean, I don't know why she was always very insecure. She was always saying, in terms of her comedy, because I guess, she thought she wasn't as good as anybody. She used to constantly say to me, how come that's not funny? No one laughs at anything I say. She'd always say that, and it was like, you're very funny. You're just funny in different. Everyone's funny in different ways, but she was always very insecure about it, and she was really funny. I mean, she's very.
But then
funny.
she said, then years later, she saw some of these reruns, and she said, "I was pretty funny in that show." So,
Oh, well, that's
all
good.
of that,
That's good.
Because she'd certainly, she'll probably disagree with me, but she certainly didn't feel that way while she was doing it, I don't think.
I know. Well, sometimes there would be scenes where she would just say, "What?
Yeah,
You
yeah.
did what?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Dave, what are you
How?
talking about?
Yeah, just the questions.
right. Well, yeah, like we were saying earlier, too, that she and Dave were responsible for a lot of this sort of moving story stuff, too. They didn't have as much chance to be, like, sort of completely insane as these characters did. But, so that was kind of a burden for them in some ways. They would get a little less laughs than everyone else.
God, Bill, I'm so sorry. I feel terrible.
Well, it's no big deal. This sad small time. Better off without it. Blessing in disguise.
Bill, looks like we're gonna give you another chance here.
Oh, okay. I won't let you down this time.
Wait, Roger just showed up. Never mind, sorry.
That makes two blessings. I'm a lucky man.
Bill, I feel terrible. If I had known they were going to think I was so good, I would not have been so good.
That was just an act break you saw, where you'd have to manufacture these sort of moments where it's like, oh, the story is turning.
I've got to sit through these commercials and see what happens next.
Yeah.
That's right. Well, I mean, it's an interesting thing for, people don't know. That is a goal that when you write these things, you have to have an act break for that exact thing. What you
And
just
for
said.
years, shows were fairly predictable. There might be a little beginning, then a commercial, and you'd watch the show, and then halfway through there'd be another commercial. And it was always just a question of, some big moment in the middle that gets you through the commercial break. But now they're putting more ads in shows, and so there are 3-act shows and even 4-act shows. So you have to come up with more of these big cliffhanger type moments.
Right. And the idea, though, was just generally to, get something to leave it up in the air so that you come back, you get something to come back to. But
Yeah, but I think
which is obvious,
in writing terms, it is like 2 acts or whatever. It's like you do sort of need the emotion to turn at a certain point.
Yeah,
But,
no, I mean, that was always the goal. I mean, when we would write them, we'd always say, okay, then what is this leading to? What's the act break? Or what's the best act break for this thing to leave it up in the air? Because that's always what you want, is that.
It's more amazing when you consider, you were talking on one of the other commentaries, that some of these would be written literally hours before they hit the table.
Yes.
And if anything, to structure it that fast is amazing to me.
Yeah, it was, well, a lot of the stories we would occasionally talk about, and we'd have an idea. So we'd say, like, maybe we should try and do that one this week about about whatever the idea was, the Christmas thing. And then people would sort of think about it, and then we'd structure the story eventually, and then gang write it at like 3 a.m. But there was generally a thought. It wasn't just like all created that night.
Is there any episode that comes to you guys' mind that that was the fastest you ever had to work that succeeded?
No, they all were. I mean, that's what. Just look at the episodes. Probably after the first 8 or 9, that's when we sort of ran out of sort of like stuff we had done pre-season, and then it just became. And as you progress through the season, like episodes, 20, 21, 22, it just got worse and worse and worse. Where it's like, you ran out of ideas. Even on shows today, you run out of ideas near the end.
Well, toward the end of the season, we would be at that point where we'd be sitting in a room at 12 o'clock at night going, okay, Bill, what do we do? We got to have, what's Bill going to do? Like, we just would have
nothing. No
idea.
Story on the wall. Or anything.
You guys often drew from people's lives, writing, but also the cast lives.
Yeah.
And I remember some things happening, like the Rolling Stone interview episode. That was kind of a quick turnaround between the actual event and the episode appearing.
Yes, that was. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Oh no, were there others that you turned
around?
Well, there's
one I just was thinking of. Al was asking about it earlier. That was the question about the Japanese one. When Andy comes, wasn't that based on you being in Japan? Didn't you go to Japan or China?
No,
what was it?
Lucid was in, but it was based on this girl came back when I was in like 5th grade. She came back from Australia for the summer, and she had an Australian accent.
Oh, okay.
And it was like,
all right, okay.
You were like, what? You were there for like 2 months. You were there, and you got an accent, and she talked like that whole year with an Australian accent.
Oh, that's so funny.
That's
we were talking about that in the show, trying to figure out like where did that come from, and
so it came from that.
Yeah, well, a lot of them just came from things, these, like I said, the space one that we watched before was just literally came out of a joke that we used to do, Paul and I and Josh and everybody. We used to just pretend saying about it being a spaceship, the show being a spaceship. And I guess the idea was the show was so strange that it was like they were in outer space. This is how crazy the show was. And then we literally made it into an episode.
But there were some, I remember, that reflected the relationships of the actors. Some of the ones where either Andy and Joe would get mad at each other, or Andy and Bill would get mad at each other, and there was stuff that you guys would lay in from real life.
Yeah, there was a little bit of because sometimes Andy and Joe had they had a weird relationship where they liked each other and then they didn't, and then so we did kind of base things occasionally on that. And like we were saying earlier, the characters eventually became based on, by virtue of the fact that we all hung out together, particularly in the first season, when it was 4 writers and the actors, it just became, the characters became more like what they really are. We'd hang around with them and be like, oh, Maura's this, and then Dave is, whatever. We would just sort of attribute these things to what they were actually like. Mm-hmm. If that makes any sense.
And plus we had nothing else to draw on, so...
Yeah, plus we were all empty and shallow, and we had nothing.
And didn't Paul Sims, he wrote, like, did he write Andy's character based on Andy and Phil Hartman's character?
Originally, I think,
and
yes.
Dave Foley even, too, those 3 guys?
Foley, I don't know if Foley was, but I know Andy and Phil were both, those were the idea he said he had them.
He wanted to cast
them.
And
Dave,
and Dave too. Yeah,
Dave
it
too.
was Dave. Okay, I wasn't sure if Dave was like, they lucked out and got Dave, but okay. But everyone else was,
By the way, as we're getting towards the end of the episode, I just want to point out that Toby Huss and Helen Loke have done a great job in this episode.
We were clearly completely wrong there.
I think that's another season we're talking about.
Yeah.
That was the one I was talking about that everyone said, no, that's the wrong episode.
Yeah.
It actually...
That was the Santa
episode
one,
I was thinking of, but...
the Santa one,
that's
the
right. Santa Claus.
Played by my brother, Dave Higgins.
Yeah.
That's right. Al's brother was in it, too. Yeah. He was in a couple of them.
Yeah, he was.
He played the Santa Claus twice, didn't he?
Did he?
Or he played something else. He played another
restaurant, fast food restaurant.
Oh, yeah.
That's right. Yeah, he was in a couple of them.
Yeah.
That's right. Oh. Now, this guy right here was also... Isn't he like...
He's doing tons of commercials now.
Or something. Yeah, he's been on a lot of things.
He's in that one commercial where it's the sort of guy sitting next to her on the plane for like she was planning the trip. He was like, the guy using trying to hit on her and stuff like that.
Hello, surprise!
This was Dave's house, right?
Oh, right.
Yes, the joke being he has no idea who this dog is or something.
I've never seen this dog before in my life.
Well, okay, sure.
They must have just gotten him. Hey, but nice dog. Hey. Hello?
everybody.
That was a real sitcom dog with those ears and that stuff. It looked like a real fakey sitcom dog.
That was another thing. The animals. Anytime there was an animal in the show, as I recall, this took a while to get this dog to actually come into the room and walk out of the room.
And a year later, Jimmy James would break into this house, wouldn't he? And stay
that's
here.
right, man.
You'll notice that completely fake phone on the wall moving.
Yeah, it's not
because it was
even
about to
working.
fall off.
Great. Yeah, I wish somebody had told me we were doing Christmas Eve at your place this year.
It's nice. We're ruining all the magic of the.
Yeah.
Well, this was more. Couldn't figure out all the things about Wisconsin, the different. Weird...
Yeah, in Wisconsin they always leave Jell-O out when they're going away for a Christmas vacation.
She had never seen Jell-O
Yeah.
before, right? I guess that was a concept.
No, you don't do that.
No, I really do.
We don't have time.
No, we do.
She lives in Chicago.
Oh. I'm sorry, Dave.
That's all right.
Maura looks cute in this one too.
Before we have to go back to the airport.
Yeah, Dave does. Oh, Maura, yeah, she does too.
Cab driver to honk when we had to leave.
Okay.
Here we come to the end.
Here we come to the end of our journey, our Christmas journey.
It's bittersweet for these two.
Merry Christmas, Joe.
Yeah.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas, Al. Merry Christmas,
Oh,
Spider. Merry
gosh.
Christmas, Sam.
Merry Christmas, everyone. God bless us all.
We got another minute.
Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas, viewer at home, listening to this on DVD and getting annoyed that you spent money on this.
I still have that photo in my. No, I don't.
I remember this. We needed an ending to this. I do remember in the editing room. I believe we put a little Christmas music in this because it kind of didn't really work without anything. I think.
When in doubt, go to the animal.
Listen, yeah. We put a little Christmas music in at the end because for some reason it didn't really. I don't know what the hell the Christmas music helped for, but I remember it was a big discussion.
Yeah,
Like,
well, it was a Christmas episode.
we kind of put it in. We
something
thought
sweet.
we should put something in there because it basically feels like nothing otherwise. Well,
Da, 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 da.
Well, another one down.
Another one bites the dust.
Yep.
We're sorry about this one, viewers. Nothing we can do.
I blame Al. It was Al Higgins.
I blame the Indian food.